Welcome into Press Box Live. I'm Stan the Fan Charles, and I am with Pressbox and PressBoxOnline.com. And with me are Ross Grimsley and Luke Jackson. And guys, I start out with a question that I do just about every show. What company has the expertise and technology to make your home substantially more energy efficient, comfortable, and even virus free? That would be AJ Michaels Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis at AMA at ajmichaels.com. Sorry about that. And we'll remind you that we're also brought to you by Superbook Sports. That's right, Superbook, the most trusted name in Vegas. Now they're open for business in the state of Maryland. And you can use the promo code that's up on your screen under my name, Stan Charles 23, or my friend Glenn Clark 23, to score up to $250 with their first bet bonus, win or lose. They will match your first bet, $250 with promo code StanCharles23, all one word with no spaces. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Guys, as we hit the midway point of the month of January, spring training probably pitchers and catchers, Luke, I'm guessing reporting in less than a month by a tick or two.
Yeah, and I would think that guys will start trickling into Sarasota even earlier than that.
Yep. All because they probably want to visit and get Mrs. Hyde's
Absolutely.
free cooking.
Absolutely.
Brandon, a resident of. Do you ever bump into him? I know you're not in Tampa. I know you're not in Sarasota, Ross, but you're in Bradenton. You ever bump
Yeah.
into Brandon on the
We
golf
were,
course?
I was supposed to play in a golf tournament on January the 8th, and I couldn't
Right.
do it. And he was supposed to be there. And I think Devereaux played, and I don't believe he was able to make it for some particular reason. But that would have been
Well,
probably the only chance.
once he heard you weren't coming, he probably backed out.
Yeah, right.
Hey, the long season, the off season's been kind of tedious, to say the least. The Orioles immediately did what they did last year when they signed Kyle Gibson. This year it was a relief pitcher they needed. They paid a nice price for Craig Kimbrell, and then it's been crickets ever since. Luke, I don't get the sense that it's crickets for lack of effort by Mike Elias, though.
Right. I think you're absolutely right. I think that Mike has tried to swing a deal for a top of the rotation starter, knowing that he doesn't have the resources to compete at the top of the free agent market for a top of the rotation starter. But I think that they've tried and tried on Dylan Cease. They probably tried and tried on Jesus Luzardo. They probably tried and tried on a lot of guys, and they just haven't been able to swing a deal yet. So I think you're absolutely right. I don't think it's necessarily for a lack of effort, but there are still some names on the free agent market. This is a very slow moving free agent market. And so there are still some possibilities out there. And I think there's still some trade possibilities out there. And unfortunately, it just takes a long time sometimes for these things to develop, especially in baseball. It can be a little frustrating.
It's in the last 10 days or so, I've also heard that the name Kobe Mayo has been a bit of a sticking point.
Yep.
Luke, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, Kobe is basically a central casting corner power bat. He is a big dude. He's about 6'5", 6'6", projects probably to end up around, I don't know, what do you think, Stan, 240 pounds?
Yeah.
Pretty big kid. And he's got a ton of power, light tower power, right-handed hitter. Both of us have seen him hit some moonshots in Aberdeen and Bowie. This is a really impressive kid. There's a little bit of a question about whether he ends up at first base, third base, maybe it's right field. I don't know. But he's going to hit. There's no question. And if you Orioles fans want a kid who's not going to be intimidated by that left field wall, that's Kobe Mayo. So it's no surprise to me that other teams want him. And if Jackson Holliday is off the table, they're going to ask for Kobe Mayo and they're going to ask for Samuel Basallo. And I'm sure the Orioles don't want to give either of those guys up. And I'm sure that's where the sticking point is.
Yeah. Ross, tell me what happens when a general manager like Mike and we know from talking to the same people that he's been active trying to make something happen, but you just keep getting an unrealistic ask. At a certain point, you have to prove your dignity, right? That you got some dignity, and you got to say, guys, if this is what you're talking about, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, you want to get somebody, you have to usually give up somebody.
Yeah.
But it sounds like that they're asking for a lot of somebodies, just way too many. And the thing goes, and one of the questions, where's Mayo going to play? And I think Luke said that. I mean, third base is locked up probably, shortstop's locked up, second base, you got first base right now, and outfield. I think there's guys waiting in the wings in the outfield. So if this guy can get you a quality player, you might want to, do something that's in the boundaries you want to, you want to get rid of guys. But it's, like I said, you got to give up something to get something. But after a while, you go, wait a minute, we'll just. I think we got a good enough starting pitching, and that's the big thing. Hopefully, Means can come back and be a solid starter for him and give him some innings and win some games. I mean, if he's healthy, he's going to be effective. So they may just wait and see what happens during the season and go from there.
That's what it looks like at this point in time. Ross, the market, we're reading a little bit that the Orioles have shown some interest, came out of kind of nowhere in Big Maple, James Paxton, the former big time left-hander with big time stuff, but an inability all too often for these big left-handers to stay healthy. He bounced back last year and did pitch like 90 innings with the Red Sox, and 75 of those innings were like an ERA of like 3.5, 3.55, something like that. He had a really bad 14 innings at the end of the year that bumped his overall ERA up to the mid fours. Is he somebody that you'd have some level of interest in?
It seems like he started the season off. I think he was 4-1 or 5-1, something like that. Like you said, he pitched 97 innings. He struck out 110 or 11 guys.
Yeah.
4-pitch guy, mainly those mainly a fastball. His problem is staying healthy. I mean, it's a leg, it's a hamstring, it's a shoulder, it's a back, it's something. So I mean, to invest that kind of money in him, you already got one guy coming back from Tommy John surgery, and I think Paxton missed all of 22, I think.
Yep.
21 or 22. So, I mean, that's a gamble right there to get somebody. I mean, if you're going to get somebody, you might as well get somebody healthy. But, he's somebody that's in their price range, and depending on if he's healthy or not. But I think I would go another route.
Do the strikeouts in that sort of smallest sample size, that is impressive though, 110 strikeouts in 95 innings.
Yeah, I mean it is, but the strikeout in this day and age is a little bit different than it was years ago because everybody strikes out. And
good point.
The thing is I believe he's a strike thrower. I think he walked 35 guys, 38 guys in that 100 or 97 innings. So he's around the plate, and that's what you want. You want people to throw strikes, and I think he'll get you some ground balls if I'm not mistaken. If I read that right, but and with the Oriole defense, I mean, pitching in that park now, it's fun to pitch. Let the defense chase your mistakes down. So I mean, he's a guy. Just the key is to stay healthy, and that's a big thing that he's had problems with.
Luke, at the winter baseball meetings, Mike Elias alluded to the fact that Jackson Holliday's got a chance to make this club at spring training. Since that point, I've been assumptive that unless he fell on his face, he was going to start the season in the big league. The guy that we're using now that does a lot of prospect stuff down in Florida, Eric Garfield, he takes a different opinion. On Friday, he was on Glenn's show with me, and he took the opinion that he hasn't played that much at AAA. It's not like he didn't stink at AAA, but he didn't really do incredibly well at AAA. And he said, and in the playoffs, he kind of was a little invisible. He's not saying he needs a lot of seasoning, but he pumped the brakes on the notion that he's just going to make the team automatically. That he could well use 4 to 6 weeks in spring training.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. That in an ideal world, he probably could use that 4 to 6 weeks at AAA. Here's the thing. If you think that Holiday's makeup is such that he can handle a lot of failure in April in the major leagues, it might be worth letting him go through that. And here's why. If he starts these, if you're pretty sure, based on what you see in spring training, that regardless of whether you call him up on opening day or on May 1st, that he's going to be a Rookie of the Year candidate.
Yeah.
If that's the case, you're going to get a pretty good draft pick for him at the end of the year because of the new rules. That if he wins or comes in second, in second. And which is what happened with Gunnar Henderson this past year. He was prospect eligible to start the year. He began the year in the major leagues. He won Rookie of the Year. The Orioles are going to get a really good draft pick for him.
Right.
So if you wait on Jackson Holliday 4 to 6 weeks, you don't get that draft pick.
You don't get it even if he would come up and then do phenomenally well and win Rookie of the Year?
Correct. He needs to start the year.
He needs to start the year
on the major league roster.
Okay.
Now, that takes a back seat to what's right for the player. No question about it. However, if they think that he's going to be in the running for Rookie of the Year, regardless of whether he comes up,
start the clock.
Then they might just say, go ahead and start the clock because if he wins Rookie of the Year or comes in second, he gets the full year of service no matter what, whether he came up on April 1st or May 1st. I'm sorry if that was convoluted because the rule is convoluted, so it's kind of hard to explain. So what I'm saying here is that there are other factors at play here. And now this is all contingent on him doing really well in spring training and looking like he belongs.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that based on what Mike said at the winter baseball meetings and what Brandon said at the winter baseball meetings, I would be surprised if he did not break camp with the team.
Just one more question about that, Luke. So if he would go down, if he would start at Norfolk and stay there 3 weeks,
correct,
come up and win Rookie of the Year, we would not get that bonus.
The Orioles would not get the bonus draft pick, but the player would still get the full year of service.
Service time. Okay, gotcha.
So, and which is actually what happened with Rutschman, is that he came up late because of the injury.
Yeah.
They were planning on starting him in the major leagues on opening day.
Right.
He ends up finishing second to Julio Rodriguez in the Rookie of the Year race. Okay. So he gets the full year of service.
And we got no extra.
And the Orioles got no extra draft pick.
Was that pick in place at the time? That bonus pick?
Yes, that's a new CBA rule designed to get prospects, high-end
the best players in the major leagues.
In the major leagues on opening day. It's worked. It's happened.
Yeah.
It happened with Bobby Witt too. And it's a little convoluted. It is what it is, but I think that will be a factor if they think that, okay, can this kid, like Gunnar Henderson did, handle the bumps in April if things don't go great? And I think the answer to that is yes.
Is he going to play every day? Is he going to play every day in the major league?
I think it will be very similar to Gunnar Henderson. Brandon will play him certainly every day against right-handers, and then just spell him a little bit against lefties and just sort of gradually work him in.
It might be better to go down and play every day and get that.
Yeah, it could be. And
if you're thinking of the player and you're thinking how he's going to help you later on, then you don't want to put him up there and play here and there.
As Luke is explaining, though, it's almost a little bit like the player be damned. We want to get that extra pick.
Right.
Oh yeah. Again, are you thinking of the player's best interest?
Right. Yeah. And this is all secondary to the player's best interest. If he doesn't look right in camp, and if he shows you in camp that he needs to go down for 2 months, then he should go down.
Yeah, no question.
But if you're splitting hairs about whether he should, start in the major leagues or, come up in mid-April or May 1st, maybe that new rule, that new wrinkle in the CBA comes into play. That's all I'm saying.
Ross, one more thing about that, and then I want to talk about the the opening of the international signing period today, and the Orioles opening their new academy in the Dominican tomorrow. One more thing though about Holiday, position wise, if you go to roster resource right now, they list Gunnar Henderson as the starting third baseman and Jackson Holiday as the starting shortstop. How's that going to sit with Gunnar Henderson? If that, in fact, the club just says to Gunnar, hey, we're making way for Jackson Holiday to play short.
Yeah,
Is he got a right to be a little miffed?
well, it depends on where he wants to play, or I don't know where he
I
enjoys
think he
playing the
wants.
most.
I think Gunnar wants to play shortstop.
He's a big guy,
Yep.
and he might be better off at 30. It's a matter of what they see and think is best for the ball team, actually, and where he's going to be the most successful and help them the most. And it could be third, it could be short. I mean, he played shortstop. He'd been there for a while. He made some outstanding plays.
Yeah.
But wherever it's, I mean, they got a lot of decisions that are really will help the ball club. You got a lot of outstanding players. Yeah, great problems to have. It's just a matter of, for me, where the player is going to do the most for the ball team. That's the whole thing.
Right. All right. It's just interesting to me because there's so many little machinations here that if you keep Holiday, I mean, if you keep Henderson at short, you play Holiday at second base, and
then
Westbrook plays
third.
third.
Yeah.
You know, that seems like that's what it would go to, and you wonder if Holiday would get a little miffed at that, but I don't think Holiday's that kind of kid at all.
I don't think any of them are. They're all good. They're all good kids, and they just want to win. It looks like.
All right. Luke, the Orioles, Major League Baseball today is the first day that you can announce the signings of international players. The Orioles haven't put anything on the board yet, have they? Today,
they haven't announced anything formally, but they have some signings out there. They just haven't announced them, but those are happening right now. Yeah.
Okay. Ross, I don't know whether you've spent a day or not, or a night at a new academy down in the Dominican Republic, but this is an area that the Orioles under Peter Angelos really never explored at all.
Right.
I think to be fair to Peter, I think he equated the Dominican and Latin America with sort of like the AAU cesspool in college basketball when you're recruiting high schoolers. He thought it was dirty, and he didn't want to be a part of it. John Angelos, I think, has had the very good sense to work with Mike Elias and give Mike the tools he needs to win. Tell me how important a new academy is for the Orioles down in the Dominican.
Well, it used to be some of the old Air Force bases or Army bases in these different places down there that they had, and they were they were probably better than these kids have ever played on before. But as a professional player, you play on some of these places, and you go, you got to be kidding me. But I mean, they have training, weight training. They have dietary. They got, I mean, all the stuff that these kids come in and see this. They're just gonna, and they actually have.
It becomes like a dorm. It's like a dormitory for the kids, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. I mean, they actually have uniforms. I know in the past that you got the old uniforms from the minor league teams in the organization, but now it's. I mean, they got it's first class stuff. You know, around the year training facilities to stay. I mean, they really go out of their way now, which they never did before. This is something that the Orioles, with the influx of Latin players in different places, this really is a big thing for them. It's really going to help the organization. But I mean, it's come just light years from when it first started. And I mean, a lot of the teams have facilities down in these different places in the Dominican, and they are really nice. They've spent money. They've made it a really great facilities for the kids.
Well, Mike Elias, in hiring Kobe Perez, announced 3-4 years ago that it takes a while to get the reputation, to build up the reputation with the families down there, that you can actually get plugged in and really have a realistic chance to sign some meaningful kids. Luke, it sounds like the Orioles have been able to do that. It's not like a usher so far, but there are some tangible benefits to the investment so far.
Right. I think they have after this cycle they will have signed, I think 5, 6, 7 players to $1 million+ bonuses, which is more than they had ever had prior to that. And one of those is Samuel Basayo,
Right.
who is one of the at least top 50 prospects in baseball right now. Really, really talented catcher who I got a chance to put some eyes on in Aberdeen this past year. Really exciting prospect. So, and all of those kids will matriculate, so to speak, at a different pace. Basayo is moving very, very quickly. He got to Bowie at age 19. Others will not move that quickly. And so, but yeah, to your point, Stan, it is very much almost like college football recruiting in that you need to have maybe not so much anymore in the NIL era, but in years past of college football recruiting, you really need to have a relationship with the player and the family over the course of 2-3 years to land that signature on signing day. Go ahead.
And Ross, it's not always the $1 million kids. I heard today, I was listening to Jesse, I think it was Jesus Sanchez on with Mike Farron on XM Radio, MLB Network, and they were talking about the Astros signing Framber Valdez, Luis Garcia, and Jose Urquidy. Those were all like $100,000 signs.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they're signing. They signed some very young players down there. That's right. That's why it's very important to get people down there to get involved with the parents and the families, and that they do that because they're taking these kids that have they've never lived in some of the places that they're going to now. But usually, a lot of those kids are developing. They see them. A lot of them have some ability, and they're going to pay them accordingly. And it takes a little bit of time, but the guys that shine, they'll end up going to usually an extended spring team and get their feet wet. But I mean, guys, a lot of these, I mean, some of when they first started coming to the States, I mean, you were amazed to see what they didn't know just about life in general. And you got to spend a lot of time, and a lot of the ball clubs now, they have English teachers to teach them. They got stuff that just to help the player in every.
That would have helped. That would have helped. That would have helped you back when you were coming up.
When I was
English classes.
Oh, but you mean y'all don't understand me? No, absolutely. I wouldn't talk when I first got to the big leagues.
Oh, really?
No one knew what I was saying.
Okay.
I had
that
an
Tennessee
awful
twang.
Southern drawl.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, they'd say something. Say no.
Hey, let me pass along a few words about the Costas Inn. The Costas Inn, a staple for Maryland crab eaters, crab cake eaters, crab soup eaters. But as Luke and Ross and I got to sample out back over the holidays, also a great place any night, Monday through Friday. They got specials out the yin yang on the menu. Just great chicken specials, great seafood specials, and they got them there. They're at a really nice price, and they've got good sides to go with it. The Costas Inn, again, staple for crab eaters, crab cake eaters, and crab soup eaters. But don't forget all the other stuff on the menu. Costas Inn, located 4100 North Point Boulevard, been there for 52, 53 years, going strong. Nick and Pete will treat you right at the Costas Inn. Please tell them that the three of us sent you. And I'll look forward to when we can eat there again, guys. But the three of us hopefully will be able to break some bread down in Sarasota in about 5 weeks.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, man.
And we'll look forward to that. guys, it's a baseball talk show, but we got about 5 minutes left. We got an unusual Monday afternoon football game with the Pittsburgh Steelers at Buffalo. Pittsburgh was this game was had dropped. It was a 10 to 10.5 point favor in favor of Buffalo. It dropped to 9.5. Now they postponed it a day. I like Buffalo's chances an awful lot in this football game, guys.
There's a
Okay.
lot of snow on the ground, right?
Yep, still
Yeah.
snowing as
You know
of,
they're going
but-
to be throwing the ball.
Yep.
So I have a question for Ross though. Did you ever pitch in snow?
Up in Montreal. That's one of the main reasons I went to Montreal was because of the weather, and I knew the hitters didn't like to hit in the cold. They had snow piles in July where they dumped the snow. Yeah, in July, the snow that they had taken off earlier in the year, they had piles of it, and it was still there in July.
Now, were you playing at Jerry Park or were you playing
No,
at
I played at
Exhibition
Jerry
Stadium?
Park when I was with the Reds. We were at Olympic Stadium at the time.
Olympic Stadium. And
Yeah,
Olympic
but that
Stadium was not enclosed, right?
No, it was open.
Yeah. Was there a lot of debate back then about why didn't you just close that up? You had
Well,
all that money from the Olympics.
Yeah, they couldn't get the back built to where it hung, and in between where the roof covered like this, it started spreading. Each area started spreading, so they had to put kind of like clamps on there to keep it from spreading. I went up there last year. I was up there last year, and they still they had an exhibition game. I think the Brewers played Toronto, if I'm not mistaken. That was a couple years ago. And
if they got baseball again, would that be the intermediate place again to play?
Yeah, until they have to build a stadium, and it'll be $1 billion to get everything that they need. But they got a fan base still. Baseball, they're begging for baseball, so it'll be.
I think they're going to get it eventually.
It'll be interesting to see.
Do you still do alumni events up there?
No, I do a thing. One of the guys that I know had a daughter that died of cancer, and we do different charity events for Montreal Children's Hospital. I believe is what it is. And
but they also bring you and several other expos up for events surrounding the effort to get baseball again.
What we've done, it's kind of combined with that and going to the stadium and different events and stuff. We went up and played softball 4 days. I thought I was going to die. I perched myself behind a screen at second base. Bill Lee was with us. He was a hoot. But a good time. And I think baseball is, it's still big up there, and they really want it.
Well, I think with this Oakland A's thing being settled that they're going to go to Vegas and Tampa staying in Tampa, I think you'll see Major League Baseball in the next 3-4 years. I think they'll expand to 2 more cities, and I think the fact that Vegas is off the map of expansion helps Montreal. And I would think I think Nashville, Montreal, and maybe Mexico City, all 3 have very good chances, interesting chances.
Right.
But getting back to football, Ross, you like the Steelers today or the Buffalo Bills?
No, Buffalo. I think Buffalo will throw the ball and take advantage of the conditions.
Luke?
10 points is a big number for me. That's a tough number. Do you like the Bills at plus?
I love the Bills. Then it went 10.5. And it was dropping down because of the weather was so bad. Now with the weather today not being as horrific, I'm leaning back toward the Bills and the 10.5 points. I think they're a far better team. But the Bills have been one of those teams this year on offense that have turned the ball over at an alarming rate. I was mortified yesterday, guys. Over the weekend, we didn't see a lot of good football. We saw a terrific game last night, finally, between the Rams and the Lions. That was a hell of a football game. But I've never seen anything like the Cowboys, how poor they played on defense.
Right. Right. Not that Dak was a lot better in the first half,
No,
but
he was awful. He was
uh,
awful.
I mean, Dallas couldn't stop the run, and they were leaving guys wide open down the field. And it was, I think, in the Green Bay's first 7 drives, they scored 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
They they manhandled them. It was not. They ran through them, and it was wasn't a pretty sight for Dallas.
I think the only guy who had a worse day than Mike McCarthy was Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn was out there. I know he was getting some looks as a head coach again, based on how great the Cowboys' defense had been all year. I don't think he gets a shot at coaching again as a head coach again.
The thing is that he really had trouble with Matt LaFleur yesterday, right? And LaFleur comes from the Shanahan tree. Well, if he goes to Seattle, who's he seeing twice a year?
Right.
Shanahan.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I don't know. And that's really been a big issue for Seattle the past several years, is that they've sort of been a middling team, but they've been killed by McVay and Shanahan.
Yeah.
Like Pete hasn't been able to slow those offenses down. So they got to figure that out.
Does the Dallas thing open up something for Belichick?
Stan.
Well, it opens up for Belichick. Although, in my mind, if I'm Belichick, I've got one more chance at coaching. And I'm going with the quarterback. So I would be trying to get that Chargers job, although LA is not his kind of town.
Right.
But to get Dak Prescott, I don't know that that's going to be very attractive to Belichick. But I'll tell you who could be attracted to that job is Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
We'll see. Now, Harbaugh played for the San Diego Chargers. He coached at the University of San Diego. I know the team's in LA now. That might be an attractive job to him, but the
He's interviewing. Jim is interviewing.
The Commander's job could be attractive to him.
So Jim is interviewing with the Chargers today at some point today, whether it already happened or not, I don't know. And it seems like the Commanders really want Ben Johnson, the Lions offensive coordinator. Okay. So we'll see where that goes.
Are we hearing any tie with Mike McDonald or Todd Monken?
They're interviewing in a lot of places, and it's just a matter of what those owners end up wanting. Do they want a splashy offensive hire? If not, that would probably work against McDonald, and and with Monken, do owners want to see him have success for more than 1 year in Baltimore? I don't know, maybe. So it just depends on what owners want, I guess.
One more question about football for both of you guys. I'm of the opinion I'd rather the Ravens, even though the Steelers are an easier team, I'd rather get the Texans out of the way the first week that we're in the playoffs, come out fired up at home against them, than sort of get them sneaky a week later. I think it would be better for the Ravens to have a real test in week 1 for them rather than get the easy team and go, oh, well, we got the Steelers. I'm in favor of playing the better team.
Well,
yeah,
Houston's on fire, aren't they?
What's that?
I say they're on fire. They've been playing very well the last 5 or 6 games.
You're really talking about the Texans or the Ravens?
The Texans.
The Texans have been playing very well. Yeah.
Ever since Stroud came back from the concussion.
Right.
And of course, the Ravens and Texans played each other 4 months ago to kick off the season. But both of these teams are much different since then. That was the first game with Todd Monken's offense, and it was a little stop and go. And that was the first game for C.J. Stroud. He got sacked 5 times, showed some good things. Certainly showed the arm talent that is going to get him probably the offensive rookie of the year. But that would be a hell of a game.
Great story last night in Detroit, though. You got to give it to Jared Goff. It was a really good story. Yeah. Really good story. Guys, we'll bat the ball around next Monday as well. All right.
Hopefully have some Orioles news to actually talk about, right?
Yeah, maybe,
maybe not.
maybe the maybe for the what's it called, the winter caravan.
Speak it into existence, Stan.
Yeah.
Speak it into existence. Come
We'll
on.
try. We'll try. All right. For Ross Grimsley and Luke Jackson, I'm Stan the Fan Charles. Our friends at Superbook Sports have brought you this baseball talk. So have our friends at AJ Michaels Heating and Air Conditioning, and also our good friends at the Costas Inn. That's it for now. I'll be back Thursday with Eric Garfield, and we'll be talking about what that roster could look like for the Norfolk Tides this year. Could that be one of the all-time great teams of AAA history? We'll talk about that with Eric Garfield. Talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody.